Hello everyone. Hope you all are doing great. So today I'm back with another video for my YouTube channel Owii Codes. So today I'm gonna walk through for the front end stack of popular services. So here I'll walk through the entire architecture of a front end. We'll look out the biggest companies like how Netflix, Airbnb, Amazon, YouTube, LinkedIn, GitHub, and more build their front end architecture. So here we will be looking for the services like Netflix, Airbnb. So we will look more about the entire front end architecture, how these big companies create. Spotify. So already I have created one diagram. I'll walk through that diagram how these big companies create their front end architecture. Amazon. So and at last I'll show you the if you want to become a front end developer, what needs to be learned during this time frame so that you'll become a good front end developer at this point in time. So as you can see, these are the big companies, how they create their architecture of the front end. Amazon, we'll talk about YouTube as well, LinkedIn. LinkedIn now comes to the GitHub as well. If you will become a engineer or computer software engineer, you will be working with GitHub. So I'll walk through for these big companies. So let's talk one by one about these companies, how these companies. So these are the companies that I'll be walk throwing you. So for creating the front end architecture, what will be needed? So first it will be needed. What are the frameworks? What styling we choose? How that styling applies and how the state managements are integrated, how APIs are integrated to that architecture, and how we connect that thing. See how we connect, how we optimize the performance, how we enhance through testing, and how we validate that entire platform to deploy. And then that launch of that thing happens, and that services like that platform look onto the front end part or look onto the after deployment. So one by one, I'll walk through what are the frameworks that are really needed at this point in time, how these big companies like Netflix, Airbnb, Spotify, sorry for this, let's correct this, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, LinkedIn, GitHub uses the front end architecture. So now coming to the Netflix, let's start with the Netflix. What are the frameworks Netflix uses? So talking about the Netflix framework, so Netflix uses React alongside with React, it uses Next.js. So now we understood the what frameworks Netflix uses. React with Next.js for server-side rendering, which gives the bit ratio. So Next.js is now used for server this SEO. Okay. So now coming to the frameworks. After frameworks, we choose the styling. So what is styling Netflix uses? So Netflix uses for styling, it uses a styled component. A styled component for styling. Netflix uses styled component for styling. These all things that I'm talking about Netflix. And at last, I'll show you the common path, like uh, and common all the architecture, what to be learned at this point in time. The styled component and one more styling they uses, Node SAS. So Netflix uses the framework React along with Next.js for better SEO. And for styling, Netflix uses a style component with Node SAS. Now coming to the state management. What state management Netflix uses? So for state management, Netflix uses Redux. What Netflix uses? It uses state management of Redux together with. It uses alongside Redux, it uses RxJS. What alongside Redux? It uses RxJS to handle. Why RxJS? To handle asynchronous streaming logic. Now you understood three things. For Netflix, the framework is React alongside with Next.js SEO. Now coming to styling, it uses style component Node SAS. And for state management, it uses Redux, RxJS for better streaming logic. Now for after that, after state management, it integrates with the API. So what API Netflix uses? Netflix uses GraphQL. GraphQL and one more thing, and it uses RESTful API as well. So after it connects the API, now the biggest thing comes in for performance optimization. Suppose if you build a big product, then you need to optimize that product so that if the workload or if the traffic is so high, how you will optimize your platform or how you will optimize your uh, platform. So for this, Netflix uses lazy loading, image optimization. So these are the things that we will be considering for performance optimization. Lazy loading, image optimization, so that if there is a big or large size image, we should optimize that image, caching. So these are the things that Netflix uses for performance optimization. And for testing, now let's come to the testing part. After creating the product or after the product is finalized, then we will test like how that will performance, whether there is no breakage or the app should not get break, or it should not stuck in between. So for that, Netflix uses the testing. And for testing, there are some common things, common they use for testing. They prefer Jest and Cypress. These are the most common platform for testing. So these are the two common platform for testing, Jest and Cypress. Now for validation, after this the platform is tested. Now we will be deploying this, where we will deploy so that the users will get access to the platform. So they deploy all the things And for deployment as well, like most of the big MNCs uses Amazon Web Services. And for like they uses S3 bucket for storing the images and videos. Apart from this, they uses CloudFront. So this is the complete architecture. After deployment, it is launched, and we as a user see Netflix. As a user, we stream Netflix for watching movies and shows. So to get the videos, what the public or what the user sees on the Netflix platform, the entire flow of creating the Netflix for the user, Netflix has to go the entire front end architecture like this. So I'll just take take you to the short strength of this, how Netflix is used by the user, and behind the scene how Netflix is created. So now let's discuss in short how Netflix is created. Now the frameworks are React alongside Next.js, style component, Nodes as Redux for state management, RxJS for async streaming logic, GraphQL for APIs. On performance side, they uses image optimization, imagic, CDN, performance optimization. Testing is handled by Jest and Cypress, and deployment they deploy on AWS, AWS, CloudFront, S3 bucket. Now these are the services: Airbnb, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, LinkedIn, and GitHub. So all of these, there will be a like common framework that comes. uh let's talk about YouTube, because like we everyone is having a YouTube, and everyone is using YouTube. So for YouTube, the YouTube frameworks that YouTube uses is Polymer lit. For YouTube framework is Polymer lit. I'll just zoom in. These are for custom element. Now for styling, YouTube uses simple CSS and internal styling, internal theming. YouTube has its own CSS and internal theming. Now for state management, so for state management is it's YouTube uses its custom internal store. Why we are saying custom? Because they creates by its own. That is why it is written as custom internal store. For API, YouTube uses the REST API. Now you see there is a common thing. REST is used by Netflix as well, and REST is used by YouTube as well. And alongside with REST, YouTube uses and YouTube uses gRPC. Why gRPC? Because YouTube is having very high data. So now there is a thing that you understood. For using gRPC, YouTube uses gRPC. Why? Because YouTube is having a very high data. Suppose if you are building anything and that uses a very high data. So what you will be using alongside with REST API, you will be using gRPC. Okay. Now after API, how performance optimization. So for YouTube, they uses the performance optimization. Now you can read it, what it is. So YouTube for performance optimization uses adaptive streaming and CDN distribution. Many of the new user will are not aware about this adaptive streaming, CDN, REST, gRPC. So the person who is into the software are very well aware about these terminology: REST, GraphQL, CDN distribution. Now coming to the testing part of YouTube. Now YouTube uses for testing Jasmine and PPTR. For testing, YouTube uses Jasmine and PPTR. And for deployment, again, for YouTube, that is related to Google. So it uses for deployment, it uses what? Google Cloud CD. And after that, YouTube is delivered to the users, and we stream on YouTube, or we see the videos in YouTube. So I have discussed two streaming platform or two watching platform that are heavily used by the users, that are Netflix and YouTube. So these are the behind scene of the architecture, how before creating a platform, these are the things that should be taken care, and how these are selected. Why when it comes to the YouTube, why YouTube uses gRPC? Because there is a heavy data that alongside with REST API, gRPC will be able to handle the very high data. So now, so the basic thing that you will be aware about after watching this complete video, you will get to know that what are the, at least as of now, you all have got the knowledge how these big platform, these big companies uses the front end architecture. Now you got an idea, right? So now let's discuss about some uh, summary, like what are the summary of all these big platforms. So what we can learn from all of this is that across all these companies, big companies, I already told about Netflix, Amazon, LinkedIn, GitHub, Airbnb, uses the most common framework that is used is React.js along with Next.js. So the first point is that for framework, if you are starting your journey as a software developer, so you should be starting with React.js and Next.js. React dominates as the primary front-end framework. At this point in time, React is the primary dominated front-end framework. Why Next.js along with React is that for better server-side rendering and optimization. SEO, for better SEO, and we are going with Next.js. For state management, Redux, Zustand, React query. These are the things that is heavily used by these big platforms. For APIs, we are using GraphQL. Adoption is growing alongside with RESTful. RESTful API is always in the race. For performance optimization, lazy loading, image optimization, uh, everywhere these CDNs are used for performance optimization. And for testing, Zest with tools like Cypress, Selenium, Playwright, end-to-end checks. It checks end-to-end things of the entire platform. And finally, for deployment, we have seen like Amazon Cloud, Google Cloud, CDN, S3 bucket. So this gives us a really good picture of how the front-end architecture at a scale looks for the world's top tech companies. So these are the basic summary of the entire front-end architecture. And after watching this video, please hit like, share, and subscribe for understanding. And if you want to know more details and like to watch all these kind of related videos and insights or or like you want to understand more things, you can subscribe to my channel. Keep connected so that you'll get to know more interesting things about these. Thank you for watching, and I hope this walkthrough gave you valuable insight into the front-end stack of popular services. Thank you so much. See you in next videos.